Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today I'll be talking about the Jets' interest in JuJu Smith-Schuster and Will Fuller and why I'm not really too keen on either of those guys. But before we get started today, I just wanted to mention you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary and why. And if you haven't already, please make sure to check out the podcast. New episodes come out every Monday, and link to the merch down below in the description. So per Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, the New York Jets are interested in a couple of wide receivers, Will Fuller and JuJu Smith-Schuster. Now, does this mean anything? Probably not, but let's talk about it in terms of, does it make sense for the New York Jets for either of those guys? Let's talk about Will Fuller first. He's 26 years old. He will turn 27 before the start of next season. This past year, he had 879 yards and 8 touchdowns, a career high in both categories. The issue was he only played in 11 games because he got suspended and missed the rest of the season. The unfortunate thing about Will Fuller is, yes, he does have a lot of talent, and he is a very good deep threat. He just can't stay on the field no matter what it is, whether it's injuries, whether it's the suspension. The most amount of games he's ever played in a season is 14, which came back in his rookie year in 2016. He's basically a more injured version of Robbie Anderson. If the Jets really wanted a deep threat, they should have kept Robbie. But now they're in a position where they don't have him, and what they can do is pivot and sign a true number one receiver, which Will Fuller really isn't. Like I said, he hasn't had enough games under his belt to be considered a true number one receiver because he never stays on the field. I like him when he's on the field, but why would you possibly invest any money into this guy when he could just never stay healthy? And the Jets' track history with injuries over the last few years isn't great. So it's a gamble that I personally would not be willing to bet, and I don't think it would be a smart one. And I would bet that Joe Douglas does not invest in Will Fuller. As for JuJu, there are some intriguing options with him. So he is only 24 years old. He'll turn 25 in November. And in 2018, he had a monster year, which was just 2 years ago, with 1,400 yards and 7 touchdowns. The issue is the last couple of years, the production really wasn't there. 552 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2019, missed some time, had bad quarterback play, and 831 yards and 9 touchdowns this past year in 2020. My issue with him is the maturity and the TikTok dances. Yes, I'm sure you've seen it, the Corvette on the middle of the field, dancing on the logos, dancing down big in the playoffs against the Browns. He has really turned into a hateable guy, and usually I like the fun-loving stuff and things like that, but he just seems to get in his own way, and I want to steer clear of those Pittsburgh receivers who just seem to get in their own head. Wink, wink, Antonio Brown. Is JuJu Smith-Schuster Antonio Brown? No, he's not. I understand that. There's a massive difference from what Antonio Brown was doing and what JuJu's doing, but it's just the headache that I don't want. And I don't think Joe Douglas wants that kind of a headache either. And while the youth is a part of the reason why he could potentially be an option, and yes, I understand he played with Sam Darnold in college, he's just not very high up on my list. Like, there's so many other more intriguing options hitting the market. Allen Robinson's the cream of the crop. He's 27 years old. So he is in his later 20s, but he is by far the best wide receiver hitting the market. You're going to have to pay him, but he's the best wide receiver. And you have Chris Godwin, who, if you want to take a swing on a young guy, that would be the one that I would take a swing on over JuJu Smith-Schuster. You have Kenny Golladay, who, yes, he's coming off an injured year, but he's been on the upswing for the last few years. Curtis Samuel is not technically your prototypical number one receiver, but he is a really good scheme fit for this offense. Corey Davis came on strong at the end of last year. Like, these are the guys who are going to be available, and I would take each one of those guys I just rattled off over JuJu Smith-Schuster or over Will Fuller. Do I like, in a vacuum, do I like what Will Fuller can bring to your team? Yeah, I do, but the issue is, he isn't on the field enough for me to feel comfortable saying, okay, I'm going to hitch my wagon to that and bet on him being a key contributor to my team. And with JuJu, the inconsistency is something that scares me. Is it something that's just with Big Ben? Would he be able to thrive if the Jets kept Sam Darnold, or if they were able to land a Zach Wilson or Justin Fields in the draft? Possibly, but I'm not willing to make that bet because I just don't want to take everything that comes along with JuJu Smith-Schuster. I don't like the filming in the locker room, the dancing, and all that stuff on the field and on the logos. Like, I understand you guys can have your fun and stuff like that. The athletes and the players can have their fun, but there's a line, and I think JuJu goes over that line a little bit too much and it becomes bulletin board material for the other team, and that's just not a good thing. So I would avoid both of those guys. Let me know if you would sign them and what you would sign them for. And I just listed off a bunch of guys that I would rather have. So let me know if you wouldn't sign them, who would you sign? You can have me on social media as well and tell me there. But for now, I'm Matt O'Leary, and I will talk to you next time.